でもキャラを変えるのは無礼だと思いませんか？うちの子たちはこんなバカじゃないんですけど。
それは演劇というメディアの性質上。いえ、修正箇所いただければ対応も。
だから全部どれだけ言っても治ってないんですよ。私が舐められてるだけなの。
Oshi no Ko Season 2, Episode 2. You know, one of the things, I wasn't watching the time. You know, normally this episode, I was just engaged watching the episode, and I wasn't paying attention to the time that I was watching it. And when it ended, I was like, yo, holy crap, like what just happened? Did it end? Because Akane asked Aqua to go on a date or whatever to go see I think she called it a round stage or stage around play or something like that. And then the episode just ended. I was like, holy crap. I was like, oh, I guess that's it. So this episode, was pretty good. I think it was a really good setup for two things. I think it was a really good setup for the manga creator, the creator of Tokyo Blade. I don't know what her name is, but the little mangaka that she came in. I think it was really good for the setup, with her coming in and all the setup that we got with her and her benefactor or her previous employer, and how she's still friends with her and how she invited her to come to the play. And I like the way how it kind of set up for what's going to come next, which is now her completely rewriting the play and her redoing it from her point of view, which is a callback to last episode when Akane was just like, hey, my character's just not feeling like, I'm just not feeling right. Like, I'm just not feeling like the character I read and the character I portrayed, I feel like are just two different people. And she was kind of set straight by the screenwriter and, everything else of just like, we understand how you feel that way, but because of our condensed, schedule or our condensed time, runtime, this is how she needs to be portrayed so we can get to her payoff quicker, which, in a lot of sense, it makes sense. That's pretty much what screenwriters do. That's what, script writers do, is they basically get the essence of the manga or the light novel or, and they translate that into a script. And a lot of times, certain scenes may still make it in, but then a lot of times it's a balance of changing the character. So it totally made sense to me. This episode started off with a callback, flashback, kind of like a flashback to leading up to the manga creator, the mangaka being like, hey, the whole thing needs to be rewritten, which I thought was really, really good. So it led us up to, how Aqua and Akane, how they all came on board and how they got onto the job, and them kind of meeting the other actors, and then meeting the main actor, then meeting the production studio, and just that whole meeting of them coming on board to the project. And it basically, that flashback basically led us up to then the mangaka meeting with her I guess now like friend or like industry peer, and we found out that the girl with the glasses used to actually be her boss, and this mangaka used to be her assistant. And then she became, her own writer and stuff. And now she has, she's serialized, and she has an anime and a TV show. And now she's going to have this screenplay. So she asked her to come along as she visited the studio to watch rehearsals, because she's been told time and time again, as she's been submitting revisions after revisions. She basically hates the screenplay. She's been submitting all kinds of feedback, and none of it's been done. And she's been told, like, hey, just watch a rehearsal and you'll see that all your worries are confounded. Like, they'll go away. Not the case. She blew up, and it's been a long time coming. And she put all of them in their place, essentially. And she's taking the hit, financially and all kinds of stuff, to go back and just kind of rewrite everything and do it herself. And I loved how, seeing everything kind of play out. I thought it was really, really cool to kind of see, everything, kind of play out and kind of lead up to where we ended up last episode, and everything just kind of fell into place a little bit more this episode, with kind of just seeing on, her reaction, kind of seeing how Aqua views the theater. It contextualized more of, Kana's and Aqua's relationship. It contextualized more Akane and Aqua's relationship with this. It contextualized more seeing the guy from last season, return again to be an actor among them this season. It gave us more insight on the director, you know, and the producer and the MySpace guy, which is Raida or whatever his name is, and the director. It just kind of contextualized everything a little bit more. And for me, it, you know, had everything kind of fall into place more. So I really, really liked this episode quite a bit. And I'm now, my curiosity is just peaked, you know, for two things. One, the date next week between Aqua and Akane, because we know, at this point, we know Akane's intentions. And I think Aqua knows them too, but he's so, you know, so beelined on accomplishing what he wants to accomplish, even if it means using other people, that I'm just interested to see on how Akane continues to navigate the relationship. And then I want to obviously see how Kana, you know, kind of reacts to that relationship too. But I'm excited for the date next week. And I'm excited to see what ends up happening with this new screenplay. And apparently they're 20 or 22 days from the launch of this thing. So they're going to have a very short window to, you know, practice and learn their lines and everything, which is kind of crazy too. And make sure that the play falls in line, because with the screenplay changes, it's going to mean there's going to have to be physical changes to the theater and, like, you know, the stage and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of crazy to see. But my curiosity is, like, really, really peaked. So I definitely appreciate this episode for all the setup that it's done and all the context that it gave us for last week. Because it kind of felt like last week we just kind of got thrown into the middle of a season, which essentially is what they've done with us. Is they're looking at this more or less. They're looking at this less of a season 2 and more of a like a core 2, more of a continuation of season 1. Because even, like, this episode ended off with, like, here was episode 13, I think is what they said, or maybe next week is episode 13. Yeah, this one was called episode 13, Game of Telephone, but really this was season 2, episode 2. So they're looking at this more of a continuation, which is just so weird on how some of the studios make their anime. It's like you can't really have a continuation a year or 2 years later. Like, you really just kind of need to have that new start into the season. You can throw us back into the story, but, you know, throw us in easily, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's kind of where I am. Oshi no Ko, season 2, episode 2, really good stuff. Can't wait for next week. This made me feel a lot better about, you know, the show, because last week I was like, you know, it's okay, you know. This week I'm like, okay, I'm in it. So anyways, I'll see you guys next week for episode 3. Let me know your comments in the comments below. Hit me with a like before you guys dip out. See you then. Peace out.